Welcome to part 3 of Turn Your Magical Purpose Work into Gold, where today we get to talk about growing your business to consistent 10K months, receive money like a queen, and today's the third part is without working harder, longer, and feeling trapped. So thank you for joining me for part 3. I hope you enjoyed part 1 where we talked about growing your business to consistent 10K months. That was all about getting the right pricing, making sure that you radiate your uniqueness so that your soul level clients can find you, doing things in a consistent way that you love with a unique curated strategy that works. In part 2, we talked about receiving money like a queen, where you take money off the pedestal, right? And then you realize that, well, money and you are exactly the same because you're all both made of energy, and you actually command and decree money to go where you want it to go, because now money is your tool and your multiplier for your creation. So today we get to talk about the last little bit, which is about, well, how do you do all this? How do you make your magical purpose work, turn it into gold without working harder, longer, and feeling trapped? So, do you hate playing by other people's rules, right? And where they tell you what you've got to do, when you got to do it, how you got to do it, right? Do you hate that? Now, do you hate being monitored, where people is like being a helicopter boss around you, micromanaging you, telling you the nth degree about instructions? Do you hate being monitored? Do you want to do your own thing? Do you want to blow up the old systems? Do you want to, do it your way, no rules, and just play by your own rules, right? So if this sounds like you, I totally get you, because I am that, right? I am a combustible mix of the creative, the clairaudient, a fashion designer who's bridged the business world. I'm great at numbers and all of my other quirks. So I'm definitely somebody who does not play by people's rules, right? I've always created my own rules. When I found that something didn't work, I'll go, oh, well, I'll just make up my own, right? So that's always been my thing. So, even in fashion school, back in when I was doing my degree, I was always somebody who, thought outside the box, and transcended the rules. In fact, funnily enough, the theme of my main body of work was always transformation in fashion, right? So whilst lots of people would design garments that were fitting the body, which is great, but I was always challenging the status quo. I was always thinking, well, what if you could create things that were off the body? So I was actually very much inspired by buildings and architecture, and I was using that as inspiration to design clothing that sat off the body, but in a way that was very beautiful and still worked, and very, very practical. But that was my expression. So funny enough, obviously that transformational thread has carried right throughout my work until now. I do transformational work in my coaching with my business clients. So I am definitely somebody who was, always challenging what should be done. If somebody said you couldn't do it, I would make sure that you could, right? If somebody said I had to do it that way, I would want to do it a different way. That was just how I was built. So even when I was in fashion school, I was always challenging opposites. I was always challenging the tension between dualities. I would put silk next to plastic, and as a rule you wouldn't want to do that, because it was going to be a sewing nightmare if you tried to make a garment out of it. But I was always somebody to say, well, where is that line of tension? At which point would it not work, but at which point could you put them next to each other and it worked? And all my fashion projects were always testaments of them being very, very successful. My lecturers were always surprised at how well those challenges turned out, because, I was always somebody who was challenging the status quo. So I definitely feel you if you are not somebody who plays by the rules, because I am not. I'm definitely a rebel. So let me ask you this. How would you feel if you could be the unstoppable trailblazer that you are, where you light up people's lives with your magical purpose work? You're igniting women leaders everywhere. You are awakening the divine feminine, and you get to show your kids and your grandkids what you are capable of, and show them what's possible for them too, to show them that yes, it's possible that women can be rich, powerful, successful, doing what they love and being authentically true to who they are, and still be kind and loving. Now, if that is who you can be right here, right now, if you could just step into that right here, right now, I would love you to tune into that. How would you feel if you are that person right here, right now, that unstoppable trailblazer? Powerful, right? Exactly. So powerful. I think I will be over the moon, exhilarated, and I'm just excited every day, every morning when I wake up, because I know I'm being that person all the time. So that's exactly what I would love for you. Now, the truth is that when we talk about growing your business to consistent 10K months, the misconception that most people jump to is that, well, it's just, it's got to be hard. But I want to let you know the reason why we all jump to that idea is because business for centuries, the way that it's been done, has never ever been designed for creative spiritual entrepreneurs like us. It has never been that before, because it has always come historically from a very masculine, very patriarchal, hierarchical structure that is very rigid, very regimented, very rules based. And we call it, bureaucratic, lots of red tape. So it traditionally has been that model. So you can appreciate that the moment you talk about business, us as creatives, as heart-centered leaders, we would definitely pull back from that because it just totally rubs us the wrong way. So it's important for you to know that if you love the idea of turning your magical purpose work into business, and yet you feel a little bit sick in your stomach, or you're feeling a little bit trapped, like you're, getting strapped up in a straitjacket, or, the prison cell is just locked shut, that's just showing you that you are onto something, because you're onto a truth that the business way that has been done for centuries has never been designed to accommodate us as creators ever. All right, so that's so that there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that, well, we are just way too unique, and well, the business systems haven't caught up to us yet. So if this is your first time catching me, my name is Sue Chen Lo. I'm a creative power business alchemist and a sovereign leadership catalyst. And I am somebody who had the advantage of experiencing this duality. I spoke about, always challenging the duality. And my part of my life experience is that I've experienced just that. So I was born in Singapore, which is an Asian, Singaporean Chinese family. So very much, very strict, very Asian valued family. And when I was born, I was a very creative, very curious, very rebellious little person, much to my poor parents' horror, because they were thinking, wow, what are we going to do with this person? She wants to touch everything, try everything. She's fearless. She asks too many questions. If we don't know how to, in a way, contain that, or in a way harness that, wow, she's going to just get into so much trouble all on her own. So out of their, most loving intentions, they decided to ground my creative power, harness that into values like resilience, patience, consistency, kindness, all the kind of, I suppose you would say, the boring things, but, very, very important things, because they served as my North Star. So that no matter how far out I strayed in my creative power, I would always have these governing principles, I think, to keep me aligned and on track, so I wouldn't get into trouble too much. So if I could talk about then an analogy of this duality, is that so when I then obviously grew up in that life, and then when we migrated to Australia when I was 10, I got to experience the absolute opposite of that, which was freedom. Australia was, freedom of opportunity, freedom of expression, just lots of space. So it was just, you could do anything, very individualistic culture. So I got to experience that, and it really was amazing. So all through the years, then obviously I grew and I got to high school, university, and then worked and into my adult years. So I've learned all these years to come into the middle, the balance of these two extremes, because to be either one extreme isn't a happy place, because too much into freedom would almost be like a wild horse. If I was to give you an analogy, it would be like a wild horse running wild in nature, untamed. It could go anywhere. There was no way that you could tell it what to do or where to go, which was beautiful in its, I think, in its nature and in its creative power. But on the flip side, then, if we were going to talk about the Eastern side, it would be about the structure, about the values, about very grounding forces. And we could say that it's almost like breaking the spirit of the horse and making it into a working horse. So now it's almost like very functional. You got to get on with life, and that's all there is to life. There's no much more of dreaming about your potential. Dreams are unheard of. It's more about, well, we're going to make money and then we just got to survive. So there are two polarities that if it was two extremes, it wouldn't be a very happy place. And now I've managed to find the middle ground after much years of experimenting and swaying from back to forth to find that grounding force for myself. And the best way I can explain that would be the horse whisperer. So the horse whisperer is somebody who has managed to find this middle ground, who has managed to honor the unique spirit, the creative power of the horse, but allow a structure or create a structure for that power to be harnessed in a way that is shared to heal, obviously, children or adults who have trauma or illnesses. So the horse whisperer is one agent, right? A facilitator who has managed to bridge these two dualities. One that is very expressive and one that's very grounding, and found an integrated middle line to be able to come up with a beautiful expression that is healing, that is honoring, that is very expressive and expansive, and obviously in integrity to our divine creative power. So this is the analogy and this is what I strive to create with my clients, that wherever they come to, whatever we're going to be doing in our container, whether in my mastermind or with the private clients, it's always about building expansive creative structures for them. So as a creative power business alchemist and a sovereign leadership catalyst, my job is to help you to harness your creativity, very much like the horse whisperer, harnessing your creativity, whatever your magic is. And we work together to build structures that are supportive, which means that, you have a soft place to land, a place for you to do your magic comfortably, effortlessly, right? Easily in flow, but it allows to expand and stretch and evolve as you grow, so that you never feel restricted, you never feel confined, or you never feel like you've got a noose around your neck. Because, as a rebel, as a freedom fighter, as a free spirit, I honor that, because that's the last thing that I ever want for myself, and certainly wouldn't want that for you. So let's talk about then these three misconceptions that come through when we're talking about we think we have to work harder and longer, and the idea of feeling trapped. The first misconception is that people think that, well, look, if I'm already exhausted and tired from doing 60 hours a week, 60, sometimes 80 hours a week. I have heard some clients say to me that they've worked to get their business up to consistent 5K months. So they've sacrificed their health, they've sacrificed their time with their family, perhaps their marriage, just to get to that milestone. And whilst 10K months is the next milestone that they really want to get to, they can't help but think, well, where am I going to find the extra hours? If I'm already drained and exhausted, how much more can I squeeze out of myself and out of my schedule to be able to fulfill this next milestone? All right. So great news is that in my world, I am not going to ask you to work longer or harder, right? I am going to ask you to do the opposite. We are going to get to consistent 10K months, actually working less, right? Working less, doing easier things, getting there faster, and in a more enjoyable way. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do it using structure, which is what I was talking about, this expansive structure. So I know the moment I say structure, everybody's going to have this instinct to go, oh, no, 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 not that thing again. But remember, I'm talking about an expansive structure, just like the horse whisperer, where we will devise a design, a structure that you can tell us, you can say, this is what feels supported to me. Can we do it in a way that I will feel comforted, that I will feel held, right, in a way, and still be able to obviously increase my impact, attract more clients. So this is how we're going to do it. So the structure is what's going to do the heavy lifting. You're not going to be doing the heavy lifting. There is not practical way for you to work 100 hours. We are not going to ask you to do that, because the only result you're going to get out of that is burnout. And my aim is to get my clients to 7 figures and beyond, because if you are here to channel down the divine wealth that is destined for your purpose and your legacy, we've got a long way to go. So it's a marathon. We are not going to get you to be burnt out and crash before the race is over, right? So this is a marathon, it's a journey. We want you to be standing strong at the end, right? So definitely working harder and longer is not the way to go. And certainly I pride myself on having fun the whole way through, because there's no point having a business if you're not enjoying it or having fun. This life's too short to do things the painful way. So definitely in my world, we are going to do it easier, faster, simpler, and in a more enjoyable way for sure. Now, the second misconception is that people think that, oh, that means if I want to get to consistent 10K months, I'm going to have to do what the gurus say, right? Because the gurus say you've got to do it like this. You've got to make sure you get on TikTok. You've got to get onto Facebook. You've got to have a lead magnet series. You've got a 10-step funnel series, whatever it is that they say is the latest thing. And I've got to do that if I want to succeed. And well, great news. I'm going to tell you, no, you don't. In fact, doing it the way that the gurus say is a sure way for it to fail, right? Because why? How other people do it is not customized to you, because you are a unique entity. And if you followed me in my part 2 of the training, or even part 1, I talked about how you are a one-time cosmic event. So if you're a one-time cosmic event, there is no way that there is a cookie cutter strategy that is out there that will work for you. You absolutely need to have customizing done for you, right? You absolutely do, because nobody out there has your DNA, has your particular magic, or your personality, or your life story, or your purpose for that matter. So therefore, it's important that you know that you've got to do it your way, and doing it your way is the way to succeed. So of course, if you decide to work with me and you come into my world through my business alchemy formula, we get to then come up with a unique strategy customized to your genius, and again reverse engineered from perhaps whatever you're already doing that's already working. We amplify that, we give it more power so that you can reach more people and obviously increase your revenue that way. So that's the second piece. The third misconception that most people have in this whole idea of on their way to growing the business to consistent 10K months is this idea that, well, that means I've got to sacrifice something. I've got to sacrifice my kids. I've got to sacrifice my health. I'm not going to be able to do what I love. Even if there are things that I hate to do, I'm just going to have to, bite the bullet and just do it anyway. And well, my thing is that in my world, I'm saying that if you are sacrificing something, it's a sure sign that something is off, right? Because if you are giving up something in exchange for that business, then definitely your business strategy is not that great. Something is not working well enough that you have to sacrifice something. So I am somebody who loves to have it all. And like I said, if a certain system or a certain framework doesn't allow me to have it all, I'll just say, well, forget that. I'll just create one that allows me to have it all, right? And as a creator, that is our superpower. We have the right and the power to be able to create exactly what we want. And of course, having me as a business alchemist in your corner with a business acumen of 30 years, allows me to be able to tell you the principles of business that will and will not work. And like I said in my video about how I, at a young age, in my university years, so that would have been in my 20s, I was already able to apply what I learned from my MBA and transformed my mom's creative model of tailoring into a model that worked, that was able to attract a corporate client. And then we went as wardrobe consultants to our clients and really attract really high-end premium clients as a result. So if I was able to do that when I was in my 20s, right, and after, so basically 30 years in the field doing different industries, definitely for sure, if you worked with me, we will be able to create and craft a unique strategy or structure that's customized to you, that you will love, doing consistently, that would do the heavy lifting for you, so that while you grow your transformational magical work, your business grows and expands with you. So yes, definitely no sacrificing, because if you think about it, sacrificing is very much meaning that you're trying to earn money. And in my part 2 of my masterclass training, if you remember, we said that earning is because you've got money on a pedestal. And the solution to that was to take money off the pedestal, right? So if we took money off the pedestal, then definitely sacrifice is not in the equation at all. So this is about you being an intentional creator to say, well, I want a business that allows me to have time with my family, my kids, my husband is important to me, my health is important to me. So we want a business that accommodates all of that. And it's all about being that intentional creator, knowing the right business ingredients and systems and structures to put in place to be able to support that so that you can have that. So no sacrifice is necessary. So that's the great news. So in summary, what we discussed today in relation to this whole idea about great news, you don't have to work harder and longer, and you certainly do not need to feel trapped, is what we are addressing today, the last piece of the third 3-part masterclass training. So just to summarize, we talked about, first of all, you will not need to work harder and longer. In fact, it will be easier, faster, simpler, and more enjoyable in my world when we decide to work together. We will not ask you to sacrifice anything at all, because sacrifice is a sign that something is not quite right and your business strategy really needs to be much better than what it is before, because it's just a cop-out if you're sacrificing something. And the other piece is that, you got to do it your way, and doing it your way is the way to succeed. So if what I share with you is making you excited because you're thinking, finally, I knew there has got to be a way, that I was not created this unique for no reason, right? So hallelujah, there you go. There is the answer to you, that you just haven't found the right coach to be able to tell you that it is possible. So as we know, as healers and coaches and personal transformation experts, that there are infinite possibilities in the universe. And for everything that you desire, there are infinite possibilities for that to happen. In fact, that is already happening and here in our consciousness. All we need to do is know that that's what we want, and we then need to attract that, be a frequency for it, and then it comes into our life. So definitely, there is a way where you can finally grow your business to consistent 10K months, receive money like a queen without working harder, longer, and feeling trapped. So if this is your thing where you finally go, wow, I can have it all, and you want to know how you can have it all in your business, then I definitely encourage you to sign up for my free soul strategy session. This is a no obligation, risk-free session with me, one-on-one, very much like my VIP client sessions, where we talk about, what is your ideal structure? What is an ideal structure that you think you would love to have, where you're going to feel held, you're going to feel reassured, is supported, but it expands and stretches and grows with you, because your vision is that you want to be CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. If that is your vision, well, absolutely, we will need to get to work to create the ultimate structure that grows and supports you, so that you can do your magical work, reach lots of people, light people's lives up with your work, and be abundantly resourced for it. So definitely, I encourage you to sign up for that soul strategy session with me, because we are going to talk about how to make that happen via my business alchemy, which is a 5-step formula of how that plan is going to unfold for you. A lot of the work we will also discuss, if you have this fear of feeling trapped, could be uncovered in your trauma or in your dark side. So a step of my 5-step formula is all about the shadow alchemy, which I love to delve into. I know a lot of people sort of turn away from that because it's messy, it's dark. But really, I find that the most exciting part, because that is where we uncover your literal gold mine. So if you think that you are already a powerhouse, just wait till we get into that shadow alchemy side, because that is the part where we mine into your darkness, we extract the gold, and that gold we return to you as the divine creator. It amplifies your creative power. And then we obviously harness that back in and ground it in this beautiful container, this structure that we will design for you, so that, wow, the whole world will be impacted by your magical work. So I definitely encourage you to sign up for that free soul strategy session with me, because there's much that we can talk about. We can talk about what is that unique structure or strategy that we will curate for you, full of things that you love to do, so that you can continue doing your work effortlessly and in flow. So just before we round up, there's a quote that I want to share with you. So I heard from a speaker on a podcast recently that he said that structure defines or dictates function. And his analogy was that if your bicycle used triangular or hexagonal wheels, how well do you think it's going to work? Well, I think we all know that, well, it's not going to work very well at all. And in actual fact, through evolution, we've discovered that circular wheels are the best wheels. So the structure of whatever it is that you're working in will dictate the function. And really, fundamentally, our cells in our body follows that same principle. So if this is a foundational principle, it means that in our business, the structure of our business will dictate the function. It will dictate how well it performs. So it is about finding that right structure. Perhaps your business doesn't need circular wheels. Maybe yours is, diamond shaped wheels, and diamond shaped wheels could be your thing that will make yours accelerate and grow exponentially. So this is about us working together to find that out. So this is to help you no longer be afraid of structure. Like I said, the horse whisperer is a beautiful analogy of how structure can be done in a very honoring, nurturing, and expansive way that really supports your creative spirit, right? It doesn't destroy it, it doesn't undermine it. It definitely doesn't sell your soul for money. It actually honors it, amplifies it, and spreads it for the good of humankind. So if you are passionate and you are committed to your mission, your legacy, and your purpose being a reality in this lifetime, and what I'm saying to you is helping you to remember that, oh yes, I have a soul contract with this lady, I got to talk to her, that I definitely encourage you to sign up for that soul strategy session, and let's get talking to make your mission, your purpose, and your legacy a reality. Do not let that desire that you have, that calling that you have, die with you, right? It is important. Your kids, your grandkids, and the world desperately needs your magic. We need you, along with all the other women leaders, to be in their creative, financial, and sovereign power, so that we, all of us leaders, can lead whole of humanity out of the dark ages and into the light. So on that note, I strongly urge you again to sign up for that free, no obligation, risk-free conversation with me, because if nothing else, you're going to come out feeling wiser, clearer, and definitely your heart fuller than ever before, because you're just going to be more inspired and more passionate about your purpose and your legacy. So I hope you have enjoyed this 3-part masterclass series. This particular video also has its own companionable workbooks for you to write down your breakthroughs, your ahas, your wisdom, so that you can take what you've learned and apply that in your business. Now, till then, the next time, I hope that I will see you in a soul strategy session where we can get talking, make magic happen, and make all our soul contracts a reality in this lifetime. My name is Su Chen Lo, creative power, business alchemist, and sovereign leadership catalyst. Until then, I'll see you then.